Today's podcast episode is sponsored by
Michael and Michelle Lassen, First State Bank Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender.
Visit us on our website at yourlakeloan.com. We want to be your home loan professionals, your lake lenders.
Hey, Lake listeners, thanks for tuning in to more of Season 6 with our Grow, Thrive, Inspire podcast, a podcast created to help you grow both personally and professionally, to thrive with clear goals and visions, and to inspire. So whether you're a full-time resident here at Lake of the Ozarks, a visitor, or hope to be either in the future, we know that you're going to love this episode as much as we do. So today on the show, I'm super excited to have a new development here at Lake of the Ozarks. If you're an enthusiast for the outdoors, then you're going to love this episode. Not only is it a new development for some outdoor lovers, but also a development meant to be an economic driver in our area. So here to talk more about this project and this upcoming development are two of my new friends, Miss Stacy Pyrtle and Miss Amy Hernandez with Magic Dragon Trails. So Stacy and Amy, thank you so much for being on our show and allowing me some time to highlight all that you guys are doing, and I'm super excited to talk about this development and just everything that's going on.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yep.
Love it. So Stacy and Amy, I usually start every episode with just you guys explaining a little bit more about yourselves and kind of where you got the passion to do what you do.
Okay, well, I always tell people that the reason I started this was because I've been coming to the lake since I was a kid, and I always said I was going to retire here. And I made my husband, who is a redhead and doesn't like to be out in the sun, who can't swim and gets motion sickness on a boat, retire down here. But he has a passion for mountain biking.
Love that, yeah.
So we decided to mountain bike. But seriously, it was really just an economic driver for the community. We've always been very community active and looking to get something going that was positive in the community.
I love that. What about you?
And it doesn't hurt that I pressured her a little bit. No, Stacy and Jan have been absolutely wonderful in helping getting this project underway. And when they came to me about it, I just thought, they're right. This is an excellent way to get a new tourist attraction to the lake. Being from the lake, we've been talking since I can remember to make this place more of a 365-day a year place to visit, and the biking and hiking trails hopefully is going to bring that to fruition.
Absolutely, absolutely. So transitioning to Magic Dragon Trails, what is the history here, and why does Lake of the Ozarks need a development like this one? Are they just trails, or like you said, hiking and biking?
Okay, so we were all members of the Community Foundation of the Lake.
Okay.
And one of the mission statements was to have economic development. And that really hadn't been a focus of the organization. We'd done a lot of granting to nonprofits and that type of thing. So when we really looked at that mission statement and wanted to focus on it, we kind of started, and this is just a perfect location to have multi-use, world-class recreational trails. We've got the perfect soil composition, we've got the terrain, the grade increases and decreases that are good for hiking and biking and one-wheeling, and because you can go out and bike a day after it rains because of the rocky soil, or you can go out and hike in the snow and not tear up a trail. So that was really part of the driver and the history of it.
That's interesting that it's that the soil and everything is the perfect kind of climate for that development. I would have never guessed that.
It's interesting because Stacy and Jan and I kind of really connected kind of towards the end of the COVID era. And, you know, we had been through the whole stay at home and everybody was trying to go outside. And then conversations started happening about trails, and her husband Jan was talking to my son about biking and whatever. And all of that came to, you guys should go visit Bentonville, Arkansas. And we did. And like Stacy said, I recruited them to be on the CFL board.
I love it.
And I was in my kind of last years on the CFL board. And like Stacy said, we just hadn't, as a board yet, really hit any kind of economic push through. So it just seemed like this fit. And before we knew it, it all kind of came together and Magic Dragon Trails was born.
I love that. And, Amy, that's kind of where I wanted to transition to talking about that economic driver for a second of the CFL and the B4TL, is that right?
Uh-huh.
To bring that world-class recreational trails to the lake area. So we envision a trail system, right, around the entire lake area that will help increase year-round tourism, increase property values, bring additional business opportunities, provide health benefits to the community. So can you guys just expand a little bit more on the CFL and the B4TL?
So basically, like Stacy said, the idea kind of was born under the CFL, and we created what we call a Magic Dragon Trail Initiative Fund.
Okay.
So what we needed was some funding just to get the master plan and a study underway. So that was created under the CFL. And then as the project came to fruition and we realized how big it was and all the necessities, we talked to landowners and stakeholders and whatever, we realized that an organization that was really going to be just dedicated to it and its progress needed to be developed.
Okay.
So that's where Branches for the Lake came to be. So our focus right now is to make Magic Dragon Trails come to fruition all over the lake. And this organization, we hope in the future will take on things like housing developments, maybe pools, other things. But for right now, the trails is our economic driver that we want to see happen all over the lake.
Well, and I love that you guys are starting with the trails, but you have that, hope and vision for it to go so much further than that for our area. That is really exciting.
One of the key elements with Branches for the Lake was we needed somebody to hire a maintenance crew or person, and we've done that at this point in time. Community Foundation of the Lake still can play a key part because people can set up funds underneath the Community Foundation of the Lake to help fund maintenance or dedicate a portion of that fund to go to trail development, that type of thing. So they still really work together well.
Yeah,
that's really cool. Well, you guys had both mentioned to me previously that you are maintaining Honey Run trails. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? What is the difference?
So Honey Run Trails was built about 20 years ago, and it's out off of McCubbins Point, McCubbins Road, Anderson Hollow area. So it's not really connected to the community.
Okay.
A lot of people don't even know it's there.
Yeah, I didn't.
It was volunteer built about 20 years ago, and it's been pretty much volunteer maintained. That means going out and clearing trees that have fallen across the trail, weed eating so it doesn't get overgrown, taking out branches that are falling down where you'd be hiking or riding, that type of thing. So that's been maintained, and we knew to keep trails going as well as being part of a grant process as we're applying for grants, we have to show that we can maintain these trails. So we've already done that. We've even helped, my husband has gone out to Four Winds State Park and helped maintain those trails out there because it's very quickly that a trail can get overrun again and overgrown if it's not maintained.
How often do you have to kind of watch those? I mean, I know people will probably, go unuse them and everything, but they probably don't report back,
Yeah, well, that is one good thing. We do have an option now on our magicdragontrails.com website where they can report if, hey, there's a log down across the trail. So you can report it. You can actually just drop a pin, attach that photo, and we'll get somebody out there to clear it. So, yeah, we can have an ability to report at this point in time. But weed eating, usually we have to do that about 3 times a year. And then, trees are falling down all the time. So it just kind of...
and Missouri weather, am I right?
Yeah.
Well, and the whole idea, is the more we get people out there and the more we get people walking or riding on these things, that kind of communication will be more prevalent. So the whole idea is that we just got to get it out there that people know they exist, and people using them will actually help in maintaining them.
I
Believe
love
it or
that.
not.
And one thing I might mention that if you're going out and you're using the trails and you're doing trail maintenance, you can deduct off your mileage on your income tax reports if you take itemized deductions that mileage out there. So
Oh, wow.
there are some benefits to doing trail maintenance.
Yeah, there is. And that's really interesting. I had no idea. Speaking of trail maintenance and just getting involved with the trails, you guys had told me that there are volunteer opportunities as well. So what can people go and volunteer for?
There are a lot of different things that you can volunteer for. For example, last year we built the Magic Dragon Trails Skills Park at the YMCA, and that was all volunteer built. It was amazing the number of people. We had over 75 volunteers come out in sweltering summer heat.
Wow. And that's right by the YMCA?
It's right by the
Oh,
Y.
wow.
Just to the southeast of the parking lot there. There's also a half mile of single track trail there. We're actually going to be working this spring to enlarge that trail. So we're hoping to get at least 1 mile to 2 miles of the trail right there, single track trail for people to walk. But trail maintenance can be anything from weeding, knocking sticks and limbs off, to actually helping build, design, blowing leaves off. I injured my shoulder tamping dirt this summer. So it can be very physical. But then we had a grant this year from the CFO Community Foundation of the Ozarks where we got 1,000 daffodil bulbs.
Oh.
And so we had volunteers out planting that. We hope to have other things. Had a little girl out last week, 5 years old, doing trail maintenance. She had lockers out there. Yeah, it was incredible. And she wants to plant wildflowers out there. So
I love that.
sprinkling wildflowers. So there's a lot of cool things that can be done.
I love that. Yeah, so I'm all about volunteer work, and that is, like you said, incredible amounts of opportunity there to get involved, especially for kids. Like, that is really cool.
Yeah, and people, even with machinery, as we get into our 2023 phase and building, if they want to volunteer, come out with their skid steers or mini excavators, that type of thing, we can use that as
If
well.
people want to, as they're watching this, send their name in or whatever, they can go to branchesforthelake.org, and there's actually a volunteer page, and they can fill out the name, address, phone number, and kind of tell a little bit about what they might want to volunteer for. And then we have a couple people who will then contact them when we have work days or, planting days or whatever, and we can send out that to them, and they can.
Yeah, and everybody should be watching our Facebook page, which is just Magic Dragon Trails, and we have that up, work days posted in advance as well.
Oh, cool. Okay, so something that no one knows that you shared with me is that for every dollar spent on the trails can generate anywhere back around $6 to $21 as a return on investment for the community. So how does that work?
Okay. Yeah, that's something that really surprises a lot of people. And there are several factors that apply. Obviously, there are healthcare benefits, whether it's the local individuals using it, because it is a cheap way to experience recreation. And people don't really recognize the benefits that come, not just the physical benefits, but the mental health benefits that come from that. Hiking can reduce stress, so your mental health issues. Also, if you're out in nature hiking and it's half an hour, 3 days a week, it can reduce colon cancer, breast cancer, a lot of other serious diseases. So the healthcare benefits are huge. There was a study in Bentonville, Arkansas, which has kind of become the biking mecca of the world right now, where they saw $137 million in direct and indirect healthcare cost savings.
Wow.
So extremely impactful. Obviously, you're going to get year-round tourism because actually, I love the lake, love to go out and be on the boat and swim, but I also, I can't do that all year round. I can go hike and bike, and actually I think spring, winter, and fall are really the best times, a lot of times before the leaves get on because you can see so far. So we're hoping that brings a lot of year-round tourism, which increases employment.
Absolutely.
It can also bring new businesses to the area, and actually it is something that businesses are looking at if they're looking to relocate or enlarge, because those are amenities that a talented workforce are looking for, to have those type of trails. It obviously increases property values for homes that are adjacent to or near a trail. That same study in Northwest Arkansas found that homes within a quarter mile of a trail were valued at $6,300 more
Oh, wow.
than anything farther out than that. So it has a lot of benefits that way. We're also bringing a lot of connectivity to businesses. That's the issue that we really saw with some of the trails that we have right now. They're so far out. They're not connected. People don't know they're there. So what we're looking to is connect those, hopefully get some bike lanes down Osage Beach Parkway, be able to connect to a lot of the lakeside businesses as well.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah.
They
Yeah,
really
so
like
to, everybody has to kind of think they're not just the kind of trails that you might vision in your head that are like out in the woods and I'm putting on my bike or I'm hiking.
Yeah, because that's what I'm envisioning.
Exactly.
Is like a state park,
Right.
Ha Ha Tonka Trail.
But picture that coming into town and connecting to something that is more hard surface, okay, where people can walk through town along businesses, push strollers, take a run through town to go get coffee, tacos, pizza, which are the favorites of people who do mountain biking. So the whole idea is this economic driver being a cycle, which is kind of redundant, but we pull the trails from out in the woods and whatever, we pull them into town, so that now we're reconnecting, as Stacy was saying, everything. We're reconnecting where people could, if we get it all done the way we envision it, they could walk from their homes to the coffee shop. They could walk from their homes even to City Hall or the hospital, or ride their bike or push a stroller with their kids in it.
Absolutely.
Reconnecting the community and making it feel like it's more of a community,
Well, for me, with that aspect is also the safety aspect. I mean, here in Camdenton, for example, we do have sidewalks, but those sidewalks don't just necessarily run the whole length of town or connect everything to everything. So I'm really passionate about that aspect for you guys and making it also safe to be able to commute in other ways via bike or walking with a stroller or whatever.
And that's actually a very common issue among all of the cities around the lakes. We're a very unique place, with the lake being the middle and all the communities being around. We don't have a main, does that make
City
sense?
center.
A city center. And so we're hoping that these trails will produce just that, a city center.
I love that.
And, you talk about the sidewalks. Well, I'm sorry, if you're on the sidewalk out here in Camdenton or even in Osage Beach along the Parkway and cars are going 40 miles an hour and you're 2 feet away from that roadway, that's very scary, especially if you're a mom with a little kid on a balance bike or pushing a stroller. So, getting away from the idea of sidewalks and getting it back into a natural setting, but still having that connectivity is really integral.
Many of the cities that we kind of need to emulate are like Bentonville or even Atlanta or, Chicago's a city, but the suburbs of Chicago and Atlanta and even Bentonville have sidewalks that are not, as Stacy says, within distance from the road where you feel your hair, blowing by. They are produced, off the road, and they're more like 6-7 feet wide instead of 3 or 4 feet wide. So, you can share that sidewalk can be shared with bikers and walkers and people with strollers. And we just need to be better as our counties and whatever are thinking about this, in us helping them produce these kinds of sidewalks that will be forever helping the community.
Well, I remember, as a kid growing up, I moved here to the lake when I was younger, but before then I was in a suburb of Kansas City. And in that suburb, there were trails, there were sidewalks. I mean, I rode my bike all over
everywhere,
town. And, that society has kind of dwindled down a little bit and, safety issues and, protecting your kids and all valid points. But what I love about what you guys are trying to do is kind of bring that back to where I'm a mom and my kid wants to go ride a bike. Well, okay, go ride the bike because I actually trust you to be safe at this point, which is huge in my opinion. But speaking of being a parent, so say I want to, pack up my 4 kids and go check out this trail system. How do I go about that? I mean, I obviously got to load up bikes and all kinds of things. So tell me more about just where to go.
Well, one of the best places to start off with your kids, for anybody, and it's adults as well, but the Skills Park, as I mentioned before, at the YMCA, we have about a half mile right now of single track trail, but then the skills park itself has rollers, dirt rollers, wooden rollers, skinnies,
Cool.
Ys, serpentine, wooden serpentines, bank turns. So kids really get the feel of how it's going to be when you're out on a single track and are going over roots and rocks and that type of thing. So that is the best place for people to start. And we actually are going to have a bicycle skills clinic April 29th.
Oh, that's a great idea.
And we are fortunate enough to have Colton Jones, who is a graduate of School of Osage, coming to help with that, plus some of our expert riders. He actually in 2019 was ranked 14th in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
in enduro mountain biking and 63rd in the world. So a real expert from the Lake of the Ozarks area. So that's going to be great to have. We're going to have some workshops for the parents as well to kind of understand about general maintenance on a bike, because it's really a scary statistic, but only 1 in 4 kids will ride a bike this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is
Sad.
kind of sad. Yeah.
So to that point, we're going to try to have some camps starting when school gets out, hopefully first, second week in June, where we're going to actually do some camps in teaching kids how to ride bikes and have
Wow.
some available so we can change that statistic.
Right. The Community Foundation gave us a grant, so we're going to be buying some balance bikes with pedal kits. So hopefully in the mini caps, which will be 3 or 4 days long, we'll be able to get kids that are balancing on a bike to being able to pedal without training wheels, because training wheels are kind of a passe thing anymore. It's not the way to teach your kid, the best way to teach a kid to
I've
ride a
heard
bike.
that, yeah, because, when we were kids, we didn't have the balance bikes
Right.
and things like that. It was just training wheels. But I've had a lot of my friends with kids, they've had a lot of luck with that balancing bike, start, and it seems to go a lot faster
Faster. It
than what
does,
I've
yes.
understood.
Mhm.
Speaking of bikes, though, that's a good question that you made me think of. Your trails, I assume that they would accommodate kind of any bike, or would you recommend like more of a mountain bike or...
Yeah, that's the nice thing. We're going to have some hard surface or more flow trails that you can take just a cruiser bike out and use.
Cool.
And then we'll also have, obviously, the single track, which would be better to have a suspension system. It'll be a much more comfortable ride for you with a
Right.
suspension system on it.
That's cool. Well, sorry, go
That's
ahead.
okay. And throughout 2023, we're giving away a bike a month.
Oh, cool.
So each month, a business is going to host, a business or two actually, is hosting a basically a giveaway box. You can go into that business, put your name, address, and it's all ages, from little kids to adults. Put your name in the box, and then at the end of every month, we're going to pick a winner, and somebody will win a bike, whether it's a 5-year-old kid or a 30-year-old
70-year-old.
person. It doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. So in the month of March, if you go visit Blair and Company Confectionery, you can put your name in to win a bike. Baristico Coffee Company has a box, and then the YMCA has a box every day of the year. We just keep one up there, so when people are at the skills park, they can put their name in. But go visit those places, and then online, if you can't get out to those places, online at branchesforthelake.org, you can put your name in to win a bike.
And if a business wanted to have one of those boxes, would they just contact you?
Yeah,
and
they
say-
just contact me. So we're kind of doing it, we're trying to get as many people involved as possible. If you want to be a business that hosts a box because you have, store frontage and whatever, that makes it a lot easier for you. If you're not a business that has a storefront, but you'd like to help with donating an actual bike, you can help us in doing that as well.
Super cool. I love that it's getting the community involved with local businesses, whether that be volunteering, sponsoring, doing the box thing. That's all. I want a box. I'm just saying, like I want to help. So,
You can arrange that.
right. So getting back to just overall Magic Dragon trails, what would help you guys right now? Like what is a couple things or one thing that would just really benefit you guys getting more of this out there?
I think probably the biggest thing is creating partnerships with businesses for sponsorships, for in-kind donations, those are huge. We've got several grant requests in right now, pending. One is for about $2.3 million. It's a 50-50 match. So obviously we're going to have to come up with some matching dollars to make that really happen. And that is to fund our 2023 emphasis, which is a property that's off of KK, kind of by the Ozark Distillery, that we're hoping to get about 18 to 20 miles of trail there. We're hoping that 3.1 miles of that will be a hard surface trail, probably concrete with two-way traffic, so people can run a 5K there safely.
That's good.
It will also connect from KK to the Osage Beach Elementary School, which will be huge because kids will actually be able to ride their bikes to there. And we're also looking at putting in a trailhead on each side and then a progressive playground.
Super cool. I love that. Is there anything else that might help?
I think just, continuing to talk about it, this is a positive thing for Lake of the Ozarks and continuing that positive feedback on it. When you go to our websites, you're going to see the master plan, which right now focuses a lot on the Osage Beach area. But the whole idea, the master idea, is to really connect Osage Beach to Camdenton, to Greenview, to Sunrise Beach, and come all the way back around and go to, and even to Eldon and get to the Katy Trail. I mean, that is the overall, think about what that would do for our lake area in terms of all that
in
economic.
The whole state of Missouri.
Yeah, I was gonna say my whole head has ideas like bike races and
exactly.
like who can go around the whole lake. That would be amazing.
I'm from Iowa, and RAGBRAI, the Register's Great Annual Bike Ride Across Iowa, is huge. It brings in 10,000 registered and probably another 10 to 20,000 unregistered riders and generates all kind of value to it. So yeah, we would eventually like it to connect all across the state of Missouri. Obviously, kind of the southern half works better. The soil is just better in the climate and temperature.
So I would say, if you're a business or a person or a family out there who's maybe looking to leave a legacy behind, or you just kind of want to leave a footprint at the lake because it's a place that you love, give us a call. We would love to be able to talk to anybody about how they can do that, whether by donating funds. Maybe they have some land that connects to something we're about to do and they'd like to donate use of that.
Maybe old bikes.
Yes,
that's actually an initiative that we're going to be working on. We're hoping to get a building up. I've written a grant for a building at the Bicycle Skills Park, so we're hoping to get a building there and engaging veterans and seniors to refurbish bikes that kids can use. We can donate out to people, some of the more disadvantaged, so they have an opportunity to ride. It'll also have some storage capability there, so people that don't have bike racks can store bikes there. So there's a lot of partnerships that we're working. But I think Amy's right, getting the message out, talking about it with people and the positive impact it's going to have. Because it's funny, we've been talking about it for 2.5 years now, and there's still people that are like,
what are you
never
talking
heard
about
that. But
absolutely.
There are still people that ask me, we have a Y here?
Yeah. I also got that. I was probably here in my 20s before I was like, wait, there's a Y here? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So getting back to you guys personally to kind of wrap up the episode, I always ask 3 rapid fire questions, okay? So the first one is, where is an area of growth that you want to experience either personally or professionally? Amy, I'll go with you first.
Probably... Well, I'm working on some personally. I've actually been spending a lot of time outside, spending a lot of time with some of the new healing concepts that are going on in town. It's become quite a phenomenon. And so I did not used to be a person that was really, into that. So I'm trying to get more into that, visiting some of these different places that have that kind of stuff. And then, professionally, just trying to get this skills park, the trails and everything just going. It is a huge passion of ours, and I would just really like to see it in my lifetime come to fruition. Even though it's going to take some time. The vision that we've talked about for 3 years of what this can do, it's just so exciting in our heads, and we just really want to see it
Yeah.
Happen.
I agree. I think it's super exciting. I mean, just so many ideas going on up here.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mine would be to say no, and that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but I have a
I
tendency.
second that for Stacy.
I have a tendency to overcommit myself, and so kind of pulling back and making sure I'm focused and doing the things that are I have the most passion for.
Stacy, you and I are so similar. I also have a problem with not saying no more, so I understand. Okay, next one. Where is an area that you feel you are currently thriving?
And I would say for me that it would be volunteer service. It's something that started back from when I was a kid in 4-H, and it has just been a continued passion of mine. So I love to do that, and that's where I think I'm thriving.
Awesome.
I'm thriving in saying no.
There you go.
No, for real. For about probably 15 years, the last 15 years of my life, I have spent, actually longer than that, fundraising for different organizations, Alzheimer's Association for 10 years, and then I sat on the CFL board for 10 years, and that overlapped, and then now I'm on Branches for the Lake, and so I'm just, I am doing a lot better at saying, nope, I can't do that for you right now, or letting other people handle things they are good at without me having to be a part of it.
Yeah, delegating.
Yeah, I mean,
Huge.
I feel like I'm doing a lot better at that than I've ever done
That's
before.
awesome. That's awesome. Okay, last one. What inspires you?
I think for me, it's seeing partnerships that really thrive and make a community or an organization better. I really like to see that partnership and teamwork helping everything.
Me too.
I have to agree on that level too. I mean, I was just with some, friends last night, helping another friend who's running for an alderman position, and seeing everyone in the room talking about how we can better improve our lake area, and all of us having kind of the same vision. It's really motivating when you get everybody together like that.
It is. And what's surprising to me on that comment is how many people are here with that same goal, just making the lake better, businesses helping other businesses, places helping places. I mean, it is just massive, the amount of people here that want to help this place become what it needs to be.
I have always said that it amazes me because it's really a community of small towns and how they really seem to all work together. And it is the small businesses that support the fundraisers, that do the nonprofit work. It is amazing. It's not the big box stores that are doing all of that a lot of times.
I love it. Well, Grow, Thrive, Inspire listeners, we could not be more thankful to Stacy and Amy for taking us down new paths with the Magic Dragon Trails. I don't know about you, but I know what I'm doing with my kiddos this next Sunday. I'm going to go check this place out. So if our listeners want to reach you or get a hold of you, how can they do that again?
If they want to reach me, they can visit branchesforthelake.org, and they'll see my name and number on there, and they'll be able to contact me through that.
And they can also visit our website, magicdragontrails.com, and they can send an email, and I'll get that as well.
And both Magic Dragon Trails and Branches for the Lake are on Facebook. Branches shares everything that Magic Dragon Trails has going on. So if you hit either one of those, send them a like and share it with everybody so everybody knows what's going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we have more episodes coming, so be sure to tune back in on Wednesdays, and also like and subscribe to our channels as well. You can find us on all of them: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Also on Key Radio 89.3 FM in Osage Beach. Also, just a huge thank you to our sponsors, Michael and Michelle Lassen with First State Bank Mortgage, Equal Housing Lender. You can find them at yourlakeloan.com. And remember to always grow, thrive, and inspire, and we'll catch you next time.